Jonathan Shrager here for Stretty News TV. I'm joined today by two former Manchester United strikers, Daniel Nardiello and Scott McGarvey. We're just about to go and film BBC Radio Manchester Red Wednesday. Just thought I'd grab a quick chat with the lads. First of all, how are we doing, lads?
Very well, thank you. Very good, thanks.
Good stuff. Yeah, just a quick one really about the season so far. I spoke to you both last year when obviously David Moyes was still at the club. As we know, Louis van Gaal's here now. What have you made of his kind of adaptation to being United manager?
What we got lost on? Well, it's like Anthony, when I had the conversation last time about Moyes, I thought they had to give him time. They never gave him the time. They've given this man all this money. You have to give him the time. I mean, you just can't keep dropping and changing. It just doesn't work. And at the end of the day, players take time to adjust to this league, for sure. And 100% managers do as well. And for me, whether he gets in the fourth position or not, I don't think it should matter whether he stays in the job. I think it's got to give him a couple of 3 years to get it right. If he doesn't get it right, then obviously it changes.
And yeah,
I'd agree with a lot of that. I think the time he's had here is a similar time to David Moyes when I spoke to you last time, and there's not much difference really with the points on the table and stuff like that. But like Scott said, I think you've got to give your managers time, you've got to give the players time to adapt to the way he wants to play, and it is a completely different style of play that he's brought to the club, as it was under Ferguson and stuff like that. So I like some of the signings he's made. You can see there's potential there. A couple of more, signings in the defensive areas, and I think United could be a threat next season. So yeah, I'm all for giving him time and seeing where he can take the team.
and like Scott said there, do you think obviously with Moisey that we didn't get in the top four, and as a result, when it became apparent we weren't going to get in the top four, he was pretty much sacked immediately? Do you think, obviously it's looking like we might achieve that this year, but if by some situation we don't, do you think he will be afforded another year or two purely based on his credentials?
Well, I think definitely. At the end of the day, as I said, if you look at your CV, if that CV turns up in any top team in the world, you look at the manager because he's won trophies. It's as simple as that. Whether he's the right man for Man United, we'll certainly find out. But again, for me, he just has to be given the time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be tougher than a lot of people think to come to the top four. There's a lot of teams coming good now, and although I think we will do it, it's going to be tough. And if he can, he proves how good of a manager he is already to come in so soon and get Champions League football straight away. So it's tough, 15, 20 games left of the season. So if he does it, I think he's done a fantastic job. But like you say, if he doesn't, then you've got to give him that time, that extra year or two, just to everything he wants.
I think he's going to be given the time, but he should be getting top four. I mean, you shouldn't be arguing about that. We shouldn't be saying here we're fighting for 5th and 6th place. Man United should be top four. But we should be winning the league. But at the end of the day, I mean, if they finish 5th or 6th, and as again repeat, they have to give them the time, because it's no good bringing chop and changes. If we give another manager 150 million, another manager 150 million, where does it end?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a tough one. As I said before, my big worry is that, as a football agent, I talk to a lot of English managers, and they all like to, British managers, they all like to get British players. It's not easy to get them. And that's why I'd always like to think, like when I saw the young lad McNair and the young lad, the other boy, Sarah Blackett, I'd love them to try and get to break in the team, not owned by this 25, 35, 45 million pound centre half from Germany, wherever the case may be. All of a sudden you've got I'm not saying you can't have a sort of followers in the team, but I think that's where the big difference in Man United at the moment. You don't have that unity of 5, 6, 4, okay, 92 class. You're not going to get that again. We know that with the Beckhams and Giggsies and things like that, top world class players.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if there was a couple in from Manchester or from British that are in the team on a regular basis.
I think he fancies that Wilson, though, doesn't he? Like Wilson.
He does like Wilson, yeah.
He's done. When I watched him, I thought, for me, he's going to be an English striker in the future.
Well, he's got the big asset that he wants. He's got the pace. He's got a good pace.
He gets a few more goals in the games. I mean, he scored a great finish against QPR the other week. So, but I agree with that. I mean, United's been built on players coming through the youth, hasn't it? So it'd be nice if a few come through and do shine. But for me, I think they need, you know, a bit of solidarity at the back, someone, you know, with a, you know, an old head on the shoulder, sort of thing, who can, you know, help teach these young lads, because I don't think we've got that at the moment. But we'll see. There is some promising people coming through by the looks of it.
Yeah.
This is where they get the chance, though. Are they going to get the chance? You know.
And ultimately, do you think on the topic of Louis van Gaal, if you had to stake a bet on it, do you think ultimately within a couple of years, 3 years, that he will lead us back to title contention?
Well, I would say this: if he's getting £100 million to spend every summer or every whatever, if he don't finish top 8, then he don't deserve to win the job.
Yeah.
That's got to be fact. I mean, you know, you just can't keep spending money.
Yeah.
And if you get that sort of money, they're talking again, you're giving them 150 million between now and summer again. I mean, 300 million in 2 windows or 3 windows.
Yeah.
You got to have a team.
And the players that he's been linked with, signed with the club, they're good players, special players, and ones he's already got added with the ones he might be getting. I think you've got to be challenging for the title. You can't be fighting for that third, fourth spot. With the players that look like they could be coming, you've got to be pushing for that title. Otherwise, you know, you're not doing a good job.
Yeah, and obviously you're both former United strikers. Specifically, I know that today we're probably going to talk about the Robin van Persie contract extension and whether he merits it. I was going to ask, out of all the strikers at the club currently, because obviously there's a wealth of talent, I know we were talking in the car, Scott, and you're a big fan of Rooney up front. You think he's potentially maybe a little bit wasted in the middle. Who's the striker that you'd most like to have played with of the current 4, shall we say, that are there now?
I think Rooney, for me. I think he drags you along. I think it's like, we talk about certain players in Man United, with Brian Robson and people like that, they drag you along with them, you know what I mean, with their performances. And I think when you look at Rooney, I mean, I can have a bad word said about Rooney because he scores a lot of goals and he does, it's not only good running. People talk about players who do 7 miles or 6 miles or 8 miles, and I think I don't make you a footballer. I don't think Paul Scholes ran 6 miles. But every pass, whether it's 60 or 70 passes, about 59 or 65 went in the right place and they took chances. So you can't just say statistically how much they run, but with Rooney, he starts from the front. I love seeing the centre forward closing people down, and he gets them all at it from him starting there.
Yeah.
And his attitude towards wanting to get the ball back, I can understand why he wants to play midfield because he's got that. But for me, and this is only still to be Rooney, I think he's a top player, but he's not finishing centre forward, and for me, that's where he should be.
Yeah. And
yeah, I think I'd say Rooney as well. You wouldn't get a minute's peace, would you? He'd be on you constantly, you know, instructing you, telling you what to do. The quality he has, I mean, he's got everything. He creates goals, he scores goals. You know, he runs off the ball, create chances for other people. He's got everything, and to top that, he's a captain now. He's a leader.
Yeah.
I agree. I think he should be playing up front. He's United's best striker. He'll score plenty of goals, create plenty of goals, and yeah, he's a top class player.
Yeah, and obviously both alluded to James Wilson. You both think he's going to go on to make waves, and I echo that as well. But obviously the other 2 main strikers who, you know, arguably if you look at the contract situation, might not even be at the club next year. You've got Robin van Persie and Radamel Falcao. What of both of those players, who would you like to still see at Old Trafford next year? Do you think the criticisms that have been levelled at both of those players at times this season has been a bit unjust?
Absolutely, yeah. Some of the criticism I've heard for Falcao especially is just it's crazy. Watching him play and see the runs he makes, and, you know, he's a top class player, and strikers need a service. They need people to give them the ball in order to score goals. And for me, he does everything right. I know he struggled a bit with injuries, Falcao, and as Van Persie, but when them 2 are on form, I think you got 2 top quality goal scorers there, and either or in that team will score goals.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's bang on about Falcao. We spoke about the car as well. You watch him, you're taking the young striker to go and watch the movement. And by the way, Van Persie as well. Van Persie's no slouch.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a wonderful footballer. His left legs like a wand. I mean, and he's not 26. The 26 we would talk about it because he'd be getting another contract for sure. The fact is he's touching 32, and that's the rules of the game now. When you get to that age, it's different contracts, depending on how old you are, and they won't be held to their answer. They're on big money. It's not like they're on 20 grand a month, you know, they're on like 200 grand a week. So if I've got to take a year's contract, so be it, because they're not going to get 200 grand a week somewhere else. That's for sure. Do you know what I mean? They may get a 2-year contract, 3-year contract on 75 grand a week, which is absolutely fine. But certainly, I've always said this with Man United, and I thought when Fergie had it for me. He seemed to always get it more or less right with 4 strikers.
Yeah.
He's 2 top strikers all the time, where notably the top 2, and the other 2 behind were pushing, but they weren't quite in that out. Whereas at Man United now, you've got Van Persie, you've got Falcao, you've got Rooney. They 3 want to play.
Yeah.
They 3 definitely want to play. And I think when you have 2 strikers, whether it be Andy Cole and you had Dwight York, and you had Terry Sheringham, and you had Solskjaer, who quite took it the fact we are behind them too.
Yeah.
The top 2 striker. Then you get like when he went on to Van Nistelrooy, and he bring one in. I think Fergie always had it right. I think the problem Man United's got now, there's too many players unhappy. I think on Welbeck when he was here, he was quite happy to be underneath Van Persie and Rooney at the time, because he realised, yeah, I'm not quite there yet. Now he's England and Arsenal, he had to make the move to Arsenal because he wanted to play on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard judgment call to have 4 top strikers. It's easy having 4 top midfield players because there's 4 places up for grabs.
Yeah.
What we've got United is you end up trying to play them wide, like we're doing with Rooney, to accommodate them. You start picking your best team. Rooney's up front, one leaves, one's out, doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And just, I suppose, just sort of ending up here, because the BBC will be calling us in a minute to ask us where we are. I mean, you mentioned before you think we will. You think it's going to be difficult, but we will ultimately get top 4 this year. Do you both echo that? You both think we will make it into the top 4 this year?
If anybody's watching this, then I've got to stand up what I said. I still say they will finish top 4.
Oh, at the start of the season, irrespective of the signings, was this after all the signings? You still didn't think?
I just don't think that's not because they're good enough. I think it takes time to settle in. Plus the fact, the way the system they are played, the systems are only good as the players you've got. Yeah. You can all talk about systems, but for whatever reason, there seems to be this big thing in the paper that this 3-5-2, this 3-6, whatever. It don't make no difference. It's the players you've got to get in. We just have to be good enough in certain areas, whether it be holding midfielders. You can't just keep blaming the back 4, the back 3. You know, at the end of the day, when Schmeichel's in goal, I remember Schmeichel saving Man United on many occasions. What Man United were brilliant at was that quick attacking. They break on you like well before, but today most teams break quickly now.
Yeah.
Lower league Premiership teams can break out the box and they're in your box within 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds and having a shot at goal. It's nothing new now.
Yeah.
But Man United, when you think of the teams that they used to play then, they were always built that way, geared that way. So there's always a chance if you did lose the ball, they were coming at you.
Yeah.
I can count numerous of games, big games where Schmeichel would stand up and make the save at 1-0, up at 1-0, at 0-0, and then we go on and win 3 and 4. I think that can happen here as well. It's just getting it right.
But you don't think we're going to finish top?
Again, I can change your mind and say over the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, I said I don't think we will.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to suggest it.
But as things currently stand, towards the end of January, we're in the top 4 at this moment in time. Do you think we'll maintain it?
I don't think we'll get in the top 4.
Huh? And you think we'll sneak in?
I think a lot of fans they're taking it for granted that we will.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at the league table, it's a lot tighter than what people actually think. I think Liverpool are starting to come good now.
Yeah.
Even though they, a few 5 points behind, they are starting to come good and they're showing a bit of form they were showing last year. Although they're not scoring goals, I think Arsenal are always a threat. There's obviously the Spurs, and then there's 2 shock teams, Southampton, West Ham, who just keep getting wins and wins. So I think it's going to be tough, but I think they will. I think Chelsea and City, obviously, they're going to be the top 2, and it could be any 3 or 4 teams could finish the other 2 spots, but I think United could just nick it in.
And in terms of the morale boost for the club as well, do you think obviously it's looking likely? I know that the performance against Cambridge was bad, but if we progress there, it's looking likely that maybe a visit to Wembley could be on the cards for the FA Cup. You've been at the club in '83 when we won the FA Cup, and you know how special it was then.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, I'm sure during your time at the club, even when you were a youth player as well, I think we must have won the FA Cup during that period.
Yeah. We got to the semi-final once with Barnsley, which is as close as I got to.
Right. Yes. I mean, do you think United this year that will be a big morale boost for the club as well? Even if we finish fourth and win an FA Cup, it would constitute a positive season.
The FA Cup with Mammy is still a massive tournament to win, and it still is. I mean, it gets played down a little bit sometimes with the teams put out so-called weekend teams, but it's not like 30 years ago when you had a 15-man squad and you had 7 reserve players that are maybe you playing then. You're not playing then, you're actually playing guys that are international footballers. Forget the wages they're on, because that's irrelevant, it doesn't matter what they're on, but they're international footballers coming in, whether it's Everton, whether it's Crystal Palace, whether it's West Brom, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's Bradford City, who haven't got any.
Yeah.
You know? Well, Chelsea, I mean, look at they get knocked out, 2-0, look at the team they had out. You know? There's no answer to the FA Cup, but I think Man United, if they can get going, they've got to go for it.
Yeah.
They've got to go for it. I mean, if they keep away from Arsenal, which you'd like to hope they do, because that's the one team that they toss up the coin. And I'm not saying we can't beat them, because we can.
Yeah.
But if we can keep away from them, you'd like to think that there's nobody there that's going to stop us getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of teams that will fancy their chances now after the weekend. With all, a few big names going out.
Yeah.
It's a great competition. It'd be good if United can win a trophy this year. That seems like their best hope, I think, or the only hope, as I say. But
yeah,
it's something to go for. Something to go for. Something to go for. So yeah. It's a special cup, so it'd be nice. Yeah.
And just one last question as well, I forgot to ask, because it's a recurrent issue, and all United fans on Twitter have been discussing it recently. In particular, the whole 4-4-2 thing, as opposed to the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, however you want to label it. I know both yourselves were probably reared on the traditional 4-4-2. What's your thoughts on it? Like you mentioned before, you think it's more to do with the players that play.
Depends on the players you've got, man. I would rather have a back four.
Yeah.
With the players they've got. You know, if you're bringing in players from Germany or Spain that used to play on that 3, and it's easier for them to just adapt. I mean, Graham Souness, who I have a lot of respect for him, he made a comment at the beginning of the season when Man United played the formation. He was saying that Liverpool bought what do you call it? What's the BBC as well? On Match of the Day. Lawrence.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Good player, quick. Was a Brighton, Irish international, Southern Ireland national. He said they brought him in. He said, and they thought, right, to accommodate him, we'll go 3 with Phil Thompson. And I don't know who they said, maybe them with Hughes, maybe not Alan Hansen. Alan Hansen. And then Graham Souness said Alan Hansen was a top centre back. In fact, he said the 3 of them were top centre backs. He said after 3 games, Graham Souness said, I went to the manager and said to him, look, make a decision, drop one of them. Just drop one of them, make a decision, because we can't play this, because it suits us. Now, that's with 3 top centre-halves. He's not going to get much better than that. Yeah. Everyone can play with the ball, everyone can pass the ball, and that's what you look for the 3. Everyone, and he said, it worked for them. So, it didn't work. For me, I would love to just see a strong back 4, the way Man United always have. Okay, under Fergie. Yeah. Fergie always didn't play 4-4-2. Fergie people that can move, whether it be Ronaldo, whether it be Ryan Giggs, whether it be Chelsea, they all moved about. It was all big movement. They all had a job to do, but that back 4 done a job. For me, I'd like to see the back 4, a strong back 4, and then having 6 players attacking midfield players that can actually go, or maybe you're going to have 1 holding midfielder, obviously, but and 5 of them doing their best going forward. Yeah. I think it would suit United better.
Yeah, I think with me as well, I think it's the wing back role as well. I don't think United got wing backs at the club. I don't think Luke Shaw's a wing back. I don't think Valencia's a wing back. I don't think Young's a wing back. I mean, they can do it, but they're not in their position. It's not what they're best at. And over the years, you've seen United with the 4-4-2, with the back 4, and it's not a rigid 4-4-2. It can change into a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-4 or a 4-5-1 at any given time with the way the movement of the players that United got. And I think with me as well, Ream Scott back 4 is a solid back 4. You can have your full backs climbing on the way United have always played.
Yeah.
And it's just a solid back 4, and you can't really go wrong. And for me, it's 4-4-2 all the time, as I say, because it's not a rigid 4-4-2. It can change all the time. With players like Rooney dropping in and Di Maria pushing on forward and stuff like that. it's
I
not as rigid as it used to be.
I think as well, you think back to Man United at home 20 years ago, very few teams came and attacked. They had one up front. So at that time, it was a fourth, so they were bombing them. But now, in the modern day, whether teams think we've got a chance against them because they're not as good as they think they are, or it's Man United, but they're still a team, they're not as good as they should be, and they're attacking it, whether it's Southampton coming to Old Trafford, or whoever come to Old Trafford. Everton last year come to Old Trafford, they come to Old Trafford and having a go, and that's where we're getting caught out. We're not used to that. Not used to that. Not used to that. You mean for 10 years Rio Ferdinand can sit with cigar in him because he never had to do anything. Benny's done all the defending.
Yeah.
I'll do them to get the ball and pass it to the fullback because nobody attacked them.
No, you're right.
Now, in the later years, they're coming at them, and so they've got to change.
I always said Rio was one of the only players who looked like he could play football in a tuxedo. He was that comfortable at times.
Casual, very casual.
And just to end up, obviously, Dan, playing for Bury this year, you know, at the start of the season when we chatted, obviously quite buoyant, wanting to push for promotion. Just talk to us about how it's going with Bury and how you're hoping the season will end now.
No, I think there's 20 games left of the season for us. Currently in the playoff spots. We're playing the top 3 team on Saturday, so you know we're just in the car again. We'll take a point there, but you know if we can get the win there, it puts us at 3 points off the automatics, I think. And it's going all right. It's going all right. I think we've got a strong squad, and we're in a good position. Could be in a better position, but still fancy us to get that promotion. Touch with it.
Say what, that car's got to mention a few times, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That big limo. What are they paying him at Bury? He's driving a Porsche and all that. What's it like? It's a bit tight in the back.
I was going to say what? So automatic promotion, or maybe another winner for you, like when you played for Barnsley in the final.
Yeah, I seem to do right in the playoffs. Every time we go to the playoffs with the club we've been at, we've always won. It's only been twice, but we've got the promotions. It's the best way to go to the playoffs, but I'd take the automatic really. It's
less stressful.
Yeah, exactly. Not as nervous, nerve-wracking.
From a selfish point of view, I'd like to come and watch you saw the winner at Wembley in the final, but
if you can guarantee me that, yeah, I'll do that.
Lovely. Well, thanks a lot, lads, and